Hey, I'm Captain Chris Baldwin with Bear Knot Fishing in Ketchikan, Alaska. Today we're out here shrimping. This we do for people coming in fishing for multiple days. Reason being is these pots really need to soak overnight to be the most effective. We still go out, we'll fish for halibut, salmon, lingcod, but on the way out, we'll drop these pots with the intention of pulling them the next day. This is a great thing to do if you're doing a cook your catch, because these shrimp are absolutely wonderful eating, and it just adds variety to the meal. So this is a shrimp pot. You want it kind of heavy so it sticks to the bottom even in the current. The idea is you got these holes, and this is what the shrimp come in, and has a little rubber band elastic. You connect these all together. So the idea is it's much easier for them to swim in than it is for them to swim out. And we're going to load this with some kind of bait. Down there, you fish anywhere from 300 to 450 feet, and there's absolutely zero light. So they're just hunting just strictly by smell. So you want something that puts out a lot of scent. You want it in a bait bag because that just slows them down from just devouring this. Shrimp will just eat this up very quickly. And you want this bait to last as long as possible so that that swarm can get as big as possible. So to bait it, I just run this through. It can be a little tricky. Run this through. Pull it on the other side. Now you could tilt it. So the key here with the bait, you want it in the middle of the pot, and it needs to be suspended. If it's sitting on the ground, you're going to get a lot of sand fleas crawling all over it, and then it makes a huge mess in the boat. So we keep it suspended, and the way to do that is you just drag this over to the side, and you clip it on, and that's going to keep it suspended right there. So after that, this cord, this is the kind of the drawstring that closes the trap up. And you just clip it like that. Now you have a set shrimp pot. Next step, just clip that in. All right, so now it's time to throw it in. Last thing I do is just do a once over, make sure everything looks good. Just do a double check that you've clipped it in. And yeah, it's ready to go. So this is a great pot puller from Scotty. It has plenty of power for what we want to do. And the beauty of them is they go right onto our downrigger bases and plug right in. It's very quick to set up. It's a little bit on the slow side pulling it up, and you can't pull up a tremendous amount of pots. But Alaska state law, if you're out of state, you can only fish 1 pot per string. So this is plenty for 1 pot per string. So if you're pulling 3 pots, it's going to be pretty slow. Anything more than that, you're going to have a hard time. Coming up on our buoy. I'm gonna put it on the starboard side of the boat. That way I could keep a close eye on it as we get closer, and main thing is to keep that line out of our props. So we got a bit of a wind and a bit of a current working against us here. So we're backing up on it, and we're gonna back down, and that's just gonna take pressure off the whole system, so we're not dragging that thing across the bottom when we start lifting it. Main thing I'm looking for is the angle of the line. When we first pulled up, the angle was like that. All right, so we got a good angle. You just wrap it around there, and you just wrap it around the knob. If you want a little extra pulling power, you could do it twice, and you just pull this. The good thing about this, if you let off, it just stops pulling. So there's some pretty serious gas-powered ones around here in Southeast Alaska, and they will take your hand off if you're not careful. So something else I've learned, if you're in a smaller boat than this, leave the main motors running as you're pulling. This has a triple battery setup, so it's really not an issue, but you will drain the battery of your boat running this if you're not careful. The way these are set up, you want floating line at the bottom, and you want sinking line at the top. At the bottom, floating line sticks straight up. So you imagine that pot sitting on the bottom, that floating line is gonna be one single strand coming all the way up. It's gonna keep the line out of the rocks. And shrimp are kind of finicky creatures. You don't want a bunch of line down there moving around because it's gonna scare them off. So the floating line keeps everything off the bottom. At the top, we're in 300 feet of water, and we have 600 feet of line. So we're gonna have 300 feet of slack, right, of scope in there. So if it's all floating line, the line's gonna come up, and you're gonna have about 300 feet of line floating at the surface. But yeah, so you want sinking line, and what that's gonna do is it's gonna have it so just the buoy is floating on the top and you don't have any line, and people could stay clear of it, and it makes it easy and keeps everyone safe out here. Oh, here we go. Got some shrimp. Perfect enough for a meal. These are our spot prawns. These are just incredible shrimp. I think these are one of the best eating things in the ocean. And sometimes we pull them in the beginning of the trip and we'll just be eating them as we're fishing. So this is how we fish for shrimp here in Southeast Alaska. Best way to do this is do it over a couple days and let the pots soak overnight. But we got a good amount of shrimp and we're gonna be taking them to Austin so you could work his magic with them. To see how Austin prepares these, or for more videos like this, check us out at exclusivealaska.com.